Alright, so this video is about the CNN fake news. I don't know what to... I feel like as an amateur or whatever, journalist, whatever you want to call it, I have to say something on this. I feel like it's no surprise, really, importance of us having our own news, our own media, our own thoughts, our own space, being unbiased, different things like that. To me, it also shows that you can't, when I talked about the Hegelian dialect, you can't really, if you have that thinking where, if you like bias, if you have a like bias and dislike bias, or like bias is everything someone does, you like it, everything someone doesn't do that you don't like, you dislike it. So if you dislike Trump, the media wants you to dislike Trump. So you're not going to like everything that happens or, that he does, but it's not going to... That's why I say it's the downfall of society, because they don't want you to think objectively. So it doesn't mean Trump will never do anything good because he's not portrayed as good, or he does things that, says things that are not politically correct, or does antics or different things. Doesn't mean he will never do anything good. Doesn't mean he will never do something, great politically. And this is what I was saying earlier. It's an obvious agenda to create a dislike bias, which gets you into the dualistic concept. Okay, Trump, everything is bad. The media is supposed to obviously be objective, and they didn't do that. So why didn't they do that? Why is there an agenda? It doesn't mean that... And they resigned. CNN didn't fire him. You know what I mean? So he's been saying it's been fake news, and now he comes out, here's a situation where he's right. So how does that make Trump look? It actually makes him look better than... Because it makes it look like he's been right all along to a certain extent. So instead of going out of their way to make people, think more dualistically, as everything is right or bad, this is the media is going to be the key factor in influencing the thinking of this society. That's why this channel is here, because there's a problem. A lot of us have seen this problem within the media. This is nothing new, but you can see that when you go to even a Trump rally or a Hillary Clinton rally, these people, you can't talk to them. You can't. It's very difficult to get people to, on the left or right, to think objectively. And, there's a reason why, because of things like this situation with the journalist lying. You know what I mean? And if Trump is right in this situation, you won't hear people that dislike Trump saying, well, he's right. They'll just ignore it and find something bad. Then when Trump does something bad, you won't hear people that like him saying he did something bad. It's really, I'm not trying to be offensive here, but it's really crazy. That's the most PG word I can think of right now, because how does society advance? How can you advance if you're building something, if you're building a house or anything, and something is not right? Do you ignore it, or do you, this corner is not good, but I'm just going to focus on the good corner and not focus on the corner that is bad? Eventually it's going to crumble down, and this is the ideology that we have. We have to You know what I mean? Everybody is making things about their agenda rather than what actually makes sense. Now, lifestyle, whatever, different things like that, that's different in a way. But I'm saying on an elementary level, stuff is rarely an extreme. Like somebody's, I forgot what they said, the naked Buddha, like the stuff that's very extreme thinking as far as everything, like having a certain bias, everything that a certain person does is gonna be wrong. Everything that this person does is gonna be right. They can't do no wrong. I mean, why do you think society is oppressing our ability to think objectively? What do they have to gain by oppressing our ability to think objectively? That's the question you need to ask. Because if someone is trying to play someone or manipulate someone, you would have them think in a certain way as to not, they would be. Sometimes we're afraid, but we don't even think to think objectively. You know what I mean? Like to think objectively, like Trump doing something good. Are you crazy? He grabs women's private parts and he says this stuff, he says that, and oh my God, how can he do? What do you mean? He's Donald Trump. He's racist. He had the Central Park ad, and I mean, yeah, all that stuff is messed up. He got sued, or a lot of real estate people get sued. I mean, you have to think objectively. I'm not saying he didn't discriminate against people, but if he's right, he's right. If they lied on him, they lied on him. Because the media is going to be the media whether Donald Trump is in office or not. The media, you think this is the first time the media has lied on a president or anybody? You know what I mean? So it's just a small victory, I think, for us who try to stay unbiased and who put really our lives and our freedom and everything on the line just to stay unbiased. And when you think at it, that's how society has always been. It's always, if you were not a Christian and maybe was into nature, then you were a witch and you got hung or killed. You know what I mean? If you never was in line with whatever was the status quo, you're always going to be an outsider, which is in the entertainment Destroying America video, which everybody should check out. So, my final thoughts is, what do you have to gain by viewing Trump objectively? Well, you will begin to look at everything objectively for what it is, and you'll begin to see that certain things are not what you thought of, and certain things are what you thought of. And that allows society to really elevate and accelerate at a faster pace. We're 17th in the world in education. You know what I mean? So, and that's what this channel is to develop critical thinking. This channel is to not babysit our suffering and our ideologies and just to point the finger. Some things are the result of white supremacy. Some things are the result of black on black crime. If you think a person saying black on black crime makes them a coon or makes them avoiding the conversation, I don't know what, you need to go to some of these vigils. You need to visit these neighborhoods. And yes, we understand the conditions were created and generally large by white supremacy. That has a big role in it. But of course, we have to take accountability. I'm not trying to get too off topic here. But again, what do you think? Do you recognize your dislike and like bias? Where are your like bias for certain things? Would you listen to Trump if Trump said something right and did something right? I mean, I'm not saying you should kiss his butt or anything if he did something right, because you would say well, this is what he's supposed to do. But if you're going to say everything he does wrong, you have to say when he's right. And I'm not saying he did anything right per se, because he's been saying this. We know the media was lying before Trump got into office anyway. You know, the black community is not immune to fake news. So, you know, this is not a new issue. It's just how do we I guess how do we see or begin to be objective about our own fake news? The fake news, our own fake news, as far as the lies that we tell ourselves, the lies that, you know, when we associate or are around certain people, you know, and people are trying to get certain things from certain people, are we telling ourselves fake news up in here? Or are we being objective? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to get too deep into it, but the point I want people to have is we have like and like biases. You know, the Hegelian dialect, different things like that. These things are suppressed into our psyche, and we play them out. So how can we recognize these things within ourselves? And if you don't, then you don't. Maybe we all need to start. But, you know, how do we recognize and begin to correct our own biases and go from there? So like, rate, and subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think. Let me know your like biases, your dislike biases, and what do you think about this story overall? And do you don't care about it? Let me know.